Hello, happy Wednesday, everyone. Hello. Happy Wednesday, happy 2024 Wednesday. We are here. We are still thriving. We're thriving, and it's good to see everyone. I think this is my first live of 2024. Um, and I'm excited. So let me go and do something really quick while I have people that are popping in. Let me send this over to 1 million life coaches around the globe. And I did bring my iPad because I wanted to also do this on Instagram. But the crazy thing about it is I don't know my Instagram password. What is my Instagram password? I'm so sad. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna try something out real quick, y'all. Give me a minute. Um, because I have some notes and I want to keep my notes up. And I think I figured it out. I think I figured it out. Let's see. Okay, y'all. I'm gonna drag my screen. I keep forgetting that I have um a dual screen. Like, use your dual screen. Okay, so I'm gonna go live on okay, great. So I am live on Instagram now, and I'm just trying to get all fancy smancy. Hey, Coach. Happy New Year to you. Hey, Coach Mariah. So I'm live. Hey, what you doing, Master Coach? Going live and trying to figure out how to go live on Instagram. And because in StreamYard you can go live on Instagram now, but it's weird. So I'm trying to do it from my phone. I've been carrying my little, it's not an iPad, but my little note thingy. Hey Taylor, how are y'all? So I'm gonna get started in just a minute because I told y'all that I was gonna come and start talking about, I'm always talking about leaders leading with love. And the question is, well, Master Coach, how do we lead with love? Like, you're always talking about that. So I want to, hey, those of you who are popping in on Facebook and also on Instagram and also on YouTube. So those of you who have been waiting for a minute, I apologize because I've been like on here for 4 minutes and 32 seconds and I haven't done anything. So I apologize for that. But I just want to make sure I have my notes because I want this to be quick and I want us to have a great conversation. You have to find a tripod to hold. I know. Can we work on that next week? Like, we need to find something because I'm going to be doing these at least once every month. So let's jump into it. So today's topic, So I'm talking over here and over here and over here. So today's topic is about the shadow side of leadership. So those of you who do not know me, in my world, they call me Master Coach Lakendra, and I am a master life coach in the areas of mental and behavioral health, and I help leaders lead with love. And the way that I do that is I run a mental and behavioral health life coaching company, and we have a trademarked model that help these leaders come in and learn this model and truly take on the accountability and responsibility of, of massive growth, like massive growth in their emotional intelligence. I don't too much deal with the professional side of everything because we do that well, right? When we know how to make money, we know how to throw the facade on, we know how to put on all the masks and show up to be accepted and seen. But the part that we struggle with the most, and who I'm talking to, I'm not talking to all leaders. I'm talking to just heart-centered leaders. You're fine, Master Coach. Okay, thank you. Um, I'm not talking to all leaders. I'm just talking to heart center leaders because those are the leaders that I cater to. Leaders who want to do better, leaders who really want to like operate in love, but we got things that get in our way, right? And so it's perfectly normal that you have things get in your way. Things like what? Like what? How we take care of ourselves, like how do we self-care and take care of ourselves, how we treat other people in our life. It could be our children, it could be our family members, it could be our spouse, our love interest, all of the things that um that kind of that's physically in our life, right? And we know that we should be doing better, but we don't because it could be we harbor so much stress, we have a lot of trauma, and things that we just haven't dealt with. And I will say that when we don't deal with those type of things, then it affects our professional life. Like you can't separate your professional life and your personal life. It doesn't work because you're only one being. You are only one human being. And if it was that easy, then maybe the world would be a better place. Maybe leadership wouldn't, be so freaking mean and manipulative and just dishonorable in the space. You know what I'm saying? And I will say that I know some great people and they're poor leaders. Um they're great, and when I say that they're great, well, it sounds so contradictory, right? Because this is such a touchy feely subject. Because all of my friends and all of my everybody that I know, they're gonna be like, she's talking about me, but I'm not. Like I'm really trying to connect to the spirit now, so I can just really speak from like the pit of my spirit, so everybody can receive this message. Because when I was sitting down writing down my list for the year of topics that I wanted to talk about, I couldn't escape. I was trying to escape this type of conversation, but I just couldn't escape it. So y'all just like bear with me because it may sound contradictory at some point because truly that's just how we live. Like we live these contradictory type lifestyles. Even me sometimes. That's the reason why I'm constantly in personal development, cleaning out my shit, like cleansing myself, so I could just truly be authentically who I am, right? So I have been like on this love journey of just wanting to like rise to my highest level of love, right? The agape love, the centeredness love, that we receive from God. I'm a God girl, so whatever you believe in, you replace it with that, right? So I've been on this journey of just striving to be like the best version of love that I can possibly be, and I hit all of these roadblocks. So what I'm saying is, if I hit all these roadblocks, and I am intentionally working on myself to evolve to the highest level of love. I know people who are not even wasting their time on doing personal development. You're hitting them every single day. So when I say to you that I get it, I know some great people and they're struggling with, they're having an internal conflict with themselves in how they treat other people. And it's never personal. Like, I want to tell y'all, like, when you have great moments, like with your managers or your supervisors or just people in leadership, right? You have moments where you have these great moments with them, experiences with them, and then you have moments where it's disastrous, right? Even in your own personal life. And so there's moments where you have great experiences and there's moments where you have disastrous experiences. And the reason why is because there is a shadow side of us that exists. Not another version, just a shadow side. The side that you have covered with your Chanel hats, with your blinged out glasses, with your fancy cars, with your fancy houses, with all the money in your bank account. You've covered it with that shadow. But at some point, the shadow goes into the light, and then you have to be exactly who you are. And who you are is affected within self and others that are surrounding you. So y'all follow me, right? So I took some notes because I only have 30 minutes. Well, I only have 20 minutes now, and then I gotta go. My ride is gonna be like go, 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 go. So I'm only talking to heart center leaders because this will affect you more, because I know that you're striving to be a better person. Because I strive to be a better person every single day. And some days I'll be fucking up. I do. And I have to go back and revisit my values, and I have to go back and revisit my principles, and I have to go back and revisit my faith to ask myself, why did you do that? Why did you cause this in somebody else's life or even in your life? Why didn't you take care of yourself better? You know what I'm saying? Where did this 10 pounds come from? You just lost 10 pounds. Why are the 10 pounds back? Why do you have someone talking about you behind your back because you affected them in some type of way and you didn't pick up on it because you were in your shadow self? So what I'm trying to tell you, good people, you good leaders who are you're striving to be the highest version of love, that we got to work on the shadow self. We have to work on the shadow self, because if we don't, hey coach, if we don't, it's going to affect everybody around us and also affect you as a leader. And you deserve better, and everybody around you deserves better, right? So I run a company. I run a life coaching company, and I have coaches that work in my company. Hey, Coach Adam. And I have coaches that work in my company. So we have these meetings every month, right? So we had a meeting at the beginning of this month, and it's still in my spirit because it means something to me, right? It means something to me when I hear my contractors say, like, we want to see this improvement. I kind of talked about it a little bit. Those of you who really follow me and listen to my messages, it's going to sound like I'm repeating it, but I'm not, because I'm going to bring it together, right? So the thing was, in what ways do you want to see improvement in the company? In what ways? And I put them in breakout groups because everybody just live in this shadow, like they're invisible. I deal with grown people, and their voice, they, for some reason, I don't know, maybe growing up, they couldn't really state their opinions without getting slashed or getting yelled at or getting disciplined or reprimanded, right? Well, I didn't grow up in a household like that. So when I really say, like, you can really speak what's on your heart, because maybe I need to help redirect your belief system, or maybe I need to help redirect you so you can think higher, like in a higher sense of reflection, right? Because if you've taken my life coaching course, there's 3 levels of reflection. So people reflect differently. Hey, Coach Stephanie, y'all are popping in. So one group came back and said, hey, like our group said that they wish that management was a little bit more firm, right? So so that means that I'm management, right? And when I thought about that, it really broke my heart because it's not that I'm not firm, it's just I'm so fair in allowing people to grow. Sometimes we are in workspaces or we're in spaces where we have to answer to someone and they don't even allow you the space to grow. It's like you do something wrong, they may reprimand you or they may not. They may just boot you on out the door, right? They may just fire you or do whatever. But in our space, like I run a personal development space, this space is so nurturing that when I built the company, I knew exactly what I wanted to build. I wanted to build a space where I could allow leaders to come in and take down the veil, take off the mask, and just truly live in your authentic self so you can work on the highest expression of love that you could possibly experience. When I tell you it's a beautiful space, it's so beautiful. So to them, it may look like I'm weak, right? Because they be fucking up. Do you hear me? And I won't fire them because that's what we're so used to. And the reason why is because on the other side of my shadow, I've done so much work. I've done so much work. I've healed through so much pain. I've overcome so many obstacles that I don't have the bandwidth of negativity because I know how much work it takes for someone to truly heal and be in the space, even when you're triggered, even when the experience reappear and you don't go back into that low vibrational space, but you stay vibrating high. That's where I am in my life, right? So we're so used to being mistreated, misguided, disregarded. We're so used to leaders treating us like this, whether they're our mom and our dad or the people who raised us, companies that we work in, community leaders, government. We're just so used to being disregarded and mistreated because we're being led by shadow leadership. So when we come into healthy spaces, it's so hard for us to receive it until we create our own drama. You understand what I'm saying? Like I I be diffusing all types of things in this workplace because I'm dealing with leaders who live through a shadow, the shadow part of themselves. But I believe so much in them. You know why? Because I had somebody to believe in me. I had somebody to never give up on me and say, LaKendra, I know that you can be a better version of yourself. So this is the type of leader that I am. But don't get me wrong, because I'm from the hood. I'm from the hood too, right? And I was raised by hood parents and all of the hood things. And I can be that. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, I can be that. But is it necessary? No, it's not necessary. Not when you're running a heart center business. So when we're talking about how do we rise above the shadow self, Master Coach, you're always talking about lead with love. How do we do that? It starts with self-reflection, right? It starts with self-reflection. It's a deep self-reflection. It's truly identifying every aspect of your personality Like listening to what people say. Oh, when you walk in a room, you always seem like a Debbie Downer. That is an alert for you to listen to that. Oh, you act like you can't be redirected, like you always got to be right. That is your shadow side, because that's truly, we're not born this way. We're born truly in love, compassion, empathy, like all of the good things when God created us. That's how we're born. We create ourselves this way through experiences, through hey nappy coach, through experiences, and not dealing with our trauma, dealing with our insecurities, right? So every day I'm having to listen to what people are saying that's congruent to my personality, to see if there's any truth in it. And if there's any truth in it, then I got to sit and reflect to find my truth in it. It's the hardest thing for people to do. And it's, instead of ignoring it and denying it, I embrace it. I embrace it. So that's the reason why my circle is so small, because I have to be mindful of everybody who wants to give me their opinion, because I'm going to embrace it, because maybe there is some truth in it. Maybe I do have some of them greedy tendencies. Maybe I do have some manipulating tendencies. Maybe I am misusing my power. This is the shit we don't want to listen to as leaders. As parents, you are a leader. In your workspace, when you got people, when your turnover rate is so high, those of you who manage spaces, you supervise spaces, it ain't cute for your turnover rate to be so freaking high. When I had to go into Dell Corporation to see what was happening in there, they thought it was some type of superiority strength that, it's my way or the highway. And I was like, no, that's damaging. It's a damaging style of leadership that no one wants to work underneath you. You can't keep friends, you can't keep a relationship, and now nobody want to work under you as a supervisor or a manager or the owner of your own business. That's a problem. So if we can't sit down and reflect, this is the first, I'm just going to give y'all 3 steps because I don't have a long time. Self-reflection and acknowledgement is the first steps of identifying what is going on in your personality and leadership, your leadership style, and identifying those things and seeing what's true and what's not. Okay, so these people are saying this about me, and then these people are saying this about me, right? So just like in my meeting, when my workers came out of the meeting, they was just like, we wish that management will be more firm. And I'm like, no, that is not what y'all want. That makes no sense. But I listened to them, and I had to sit, and I've been sitting I've been sitting with this for days. Trying to evaluate what is it that they're really saying. So, and it's disheartening sometimes, right? Because now it's like when you have a space that's craving for that, they will create it for themselves until you have to rise and then become that. I want y'all to follow me. Do y'all follow me? If a space wants something and you're not giving it to them, whether it's negative or positive, it doesn't matter. They will create the behavior which will make you have to rise to the reinforcer or whatever to meet them face to face, whether it's good or bad. Like kids, right? So I'm a behaviorist. For years and years and years, I worked with kids who suffer from emotional disturbance. And when you had kids who wanted attention, they got attention from you, whether it was good or bad. They acted a fool. It didn't matter. Just as long as they got the attention, they finally fulfilled what it was that they desired. Y'all got me? It's only a problem if you're going against your values. Perhaps power and control is what is valued in that culture. Check your values. Check your values. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that When you are governing spaces, whether it's in your home or wherever, you have to listen. You have to self reflect. You have to listen and you have to acknowledge. You can't just ignore because something is there, right? Something is there. So that's the first way. That's the first way of becoming into yourself and leading with love. The second thing is understanding the root causes, right? So once the traits are acknowledged, you gotta look at the underlining reason. Why do people always say I think I know everything? Why do people always say that I'm hard to talk to? Right? Where does that come from? Well, maybe it comes from your childhood. Maybe it comes from your current life. Like I deal with people right now who talk about being in like very unhealthy relationships and how they don't have a voice in their relationship and how they don't, you know, um their opinions doesn't matter. So when they go into other spaces, then it's like they turn into Incredible Hulk because now you have to listen to me. Because if you don't listen to me, then I get to fire you, or I get to reprimand you, or I get to do this, or I get to do that. It's the shadow side of what's truly happening, right? And good people, I know good people who are poor leaders because they're not willing to face themselves, to face the root causes. And you have to really sit with that. Past traumas. It doesn't always have to be trauma. It doesn't always have to be like, oh, something like this big thing happened to you. It could just be that you are insecure within yourself because you haven't lived up to your fullest potential. You haven't There's some things in your life that you know you should be doing that you would see other people doing, and if you could cause a ruckus in their life just because you're not doing what you're supposed to do, you will do that. Or or you're just so fearful of what's possible for your life that you can't even fathom or understand why somebody else is living such a great life. That's an insecurity. Sometimes you don't realize the actions until someone tell you. Exactly. And sometimes, most times, I will say most times, people perceptions of you is not even real. It's not even your real self. However, if you will sit and self-reflect instead of getting, you know, combative or agitated, or all of the things, if you would just sit and self-reflect and just acknowledge room for growth, if you would just even do that, then you will be able to make peace. Everything needs to have peace in it, right? Your childhood eventually needs to have peace. You need to make peace with it. Any type of experiences that took you away from love, you need to make peace with those experiences, right? So you got to go and you have to understand the root cause. Shadow traits are driven by unmet needs. Y'all write that down because I got coaches on, so I know y'all taking notes because that's what we do. Our shadow self is met by unmet needs, things that we desire. It could be that just, man, I've worked with so many people, like it's been so unreal. Like I could really write a book on this stuff. I remember having a supervisor who was so unhappy because she was lonely. I remember just talking to her, and within a month, she had met like 3 or 4 guys, and they were all duds. And she just had poor relationship experiences, and she would bring that over into the job, and I would have to tell her, listen. And she would take it out on men. So men that worked in the workspace, oh, they got it the worst. So if you were late, baby, she would put the hammer down on you. If you were late, if you did anything that didn't measure up to protocol or whatever, you were written up. And I really had to help her to see this. because she was the manager, I was the supervisor, and then we had the floor people. And I'll never forget one of the guys that worked in the unit. He was like, she don't treat the women like that. Why don't she treat the women like that? The men, we get it so hard. Not the hammer. Yeah. And when he said that, it had dawned on me, because we were friends. She and I were friends. Great woman. Great woman. This is what I'm talking about. Like, good people, great woman. But that shadow part of us makes us poor leaders. Any type of leader. It just makes us poor leaders. Even in friendships, that's leadership. Even in friendships, right? So I remember addressing her about it, and she was just like, no, like, she didn't talk to me like for a good 2 weeks, and it was so awkward because we had to work together and all of the things. And I just remember addressing it to her, and then finally she came to me, like, she had like 2 other dates after the talk, and then she came to me and she was like, I think I need to go to therapy. And I said, I agree. I agree that you need to go to therapy. I agree that you need to go to therapy, and you need to go to therapy. Whoever is listening to this, I agree. Because when you can't figure it out and you are not open to other people helping you figure it out, then you have to go into a space that can help you figure it out without judgment, where you can feel safe. Therapy is one of them. Coaching is another. Okay. And then the last one is integrating with love and responsibility. At the end of the day, y'all, we're grown. And if you're a type of leader that you feel like you have to manipulate others, right? Or, you should be paying, you know that you can really pay people more, or that you really can not charge so freaking much because your community really can't afford it. Like, this is a touchy feeling one right here, right? When I know exactly what my community can afford because I've been doing this business for such a long time. And can I charge more? Of course I can. Of course I can. But that's not being responsible for others. But then I don't live in a greed mindset. And I don't live in a lack mindset either. I don't lack anything. Anything I desire desires me, right? And I do my due diligence in getting what it is that I desire. But society has taught us, like, charge what you're worth. But even what you're worth is not even a value in what you're charging, because most people are really lazy. Like seriously. If I just talked to Coach Adam, he's on here, so he can attest to it. I just told Coach Adam, there's 2 weeks, there's 4 weeks in a month. For 2 weeks, I go real hard. I'm working at the highest capacity, because them other 2 weeks I don't want to do shit. So good leaders and leaders who know how to monetize their time and really operate in a high level of responsibility, because this is what it is. No one really needs to work every day. No one really needs to work every freaking day. So when we're putting a value on things, the value, like when I'm thinking about, I'm going to sell a workshop, right? And so the workshop, it's going to be valued off of the time that I spent in creating a workshop. And I'm just telling y'all right now, it probably only took me 2 weeks to create it. So I'm going to put that time in there. I'm going to put my unique proposition, percentage in there too, because, over time I need the sustainability, because, the only person that's making this money is me, right? I don't run a big corporation. So you put your unique, proposition in there, which is like another 10% or something like that. And then we get into our heads, like, you got to charge what you're worth. So you're looking at somebody else's program and they may be charging $30,000 for their program. And then you're just like at $2,000 and you're like, I must not be charging what I'm worth. And then we immediately bump it up to 10 and 15,000. And listen, to each his own, y'all. I'm talking about heart center leadership. So y'all can say whatever y'all want to say. But at the end of the day, we are connected. We are interconnected, just like this, like a link chain. And even though I can ask my community for that money, and they will go and rob Peter and pay to pay me, rob Peter, Paul and Mary to come and pay me, doesn't make the shit right. It doesn't make it right. It just doesn't make it right. So when we're talking about integrating love and responsibility, we're talking about communication, greed, right? We're talking about greed. We're talking about the well-being of ourselves and others. I want to be able to sleep at night when I hear the conversation that says, Master Coach, when I wanted to take your course, I was so excited because I went and looked at four or five other courses that I really wanted to take, but I'm so glad I found you and I could afford it with just 2 or 3 easy, monthly payment plans, and I didn't have to not pay my mortgage the next month. Y'all, this is tough. Leadership is tough. And being responsible as a leader is even tougher. But it doesn't have to be tough if you would just do your inside work. If you would just take ownership of where you are in life. Do you know that I'm an investor? So I'm not even like depending on y'all to like pay all of my bills. I'm a freaking investor. I invest my money. I have so many different streams of income to the point where I don't have to depend on you're stealing from Peter and Paul and Mary to come and pay me. That's good leadership. Because when you totally don't forget we're linked together. Don't forget we're linked together. And when you are totally putting, because you're too lazy to get up off your butt to do more. Remember, I talked about doing more. Heart center leaders should do more. Why? Because we're linked together. And I'm not going to rust up my chain because I'm going to be totally dependent on you as a consumer. That ain't good leadership. It ain't good leadership. And this is my opinion. This is my methodology. And that's the reason why I challenge leaders all the time to lead with love. That's the reason why I do my Leading with Love tour, because I'm challenging leaders. Like, I get it. You got a number. Okay, you want to be $100 million company. I get it. So what are multiple ways that you can do that where you're not rusting the links? Because eventually rust does what? Somebody tell me. When something is so rusted, what happens to it? What happens to it when something is so rusted? Somebody just put it in the comments. I'm almost done this thing. Somebody put it in the comments. When something is so rusted, it breaks. It breaks. It breaks. We got good leaders out here breaking people. It quits operating properly. Thank you. We got good leaders out here. It won't move. Thank you. You got to figure out what side you want to stand on. It's only 2 sides. It's good and then it's bad. It's good and it's bad. Am I on the good side all the time? No, I am not. I've done some weird shit before that I had to go back and forgive myself for. And I had to go back and see where the root cause of that came from. And then I had to go back and self-reflect. And then I had to go and say, where's my responsibility in this? And how can I make it right? We're not living responsibly anymore. Good leaders, we're not living responsibly anymore because of this shadow side of us. And just because society is making it right, oh, it's okay for us to talk about other people's lives because that's that pop culture. You know what I'm saying? Like, Society will make you feel that our bullshit is right, and it's not. If you don't feel good when you're doing it, if it hasn't propelled you stronger in love, if it hasn't given you more peace, if it hasn't centered you with more compassion and empathy and kindness, then you shouldn't be doing it. That's how I evaluate everything in my life. How did this get me closer to my authenticity and love? I could care less. Just because everybody is talking about all of the things that we see on social media doesn't mean that you have to partake in it. Doesn't mean that you have to entertain it to make you, because remember, I told you your shadow self is yearning for an unmet need. Thank you. This is the reason why I don't come do this, but I promised a couple of people that I would come and do this year. Because I know that I have a whole different type of mindset. You got to figure out the unmet need. You got to figure out the unmet need that you need, and you need to work on it. It's most times it's good not to have an opinion at all. Most times, Nappy. The last class, I remember, I don't know why I kept saying in the last class that I just did, right? I said, just be quiet. Stop talking so much. Stop feeling like you always have something to say. If it's not centering you with more love and authenticity, and centering you with more empathy and more compassion for yourself and others, then be quiet. When people be asking, well, Kendra, what did you think about that? I didn't. I don't have a thought about it. Just be quiet and learn how to have more love and responsibility, not just for yourself, but for others. I have a note over here. Let me see. Oh, yeah. This is an ongoing process, right? And it's not about perfection, y'all. I am so far from being perfect, but I am so aware and so mindful and so intentional about this life that I live. You want to be able to be where somebody says, who do you trust? And they say, oh, Ronnie, call Ronnie. That's who I trust. Call Adam. That's who I trust. Not, oh, no, don't call the Kendra. She kind of flaky. She talk about people. I'm telling you, the things that you feel that validates you, it does not validate you. Because even to the people who are so disconnected from their own reality, it affects them too. Even though they may be engaging with you, but at some point we come back centered because we have to, because we were created by a higher power. So at some point in our life, we come back centered where all of the gossip and all of the stuff makes you feel like crap. And you just say, why did I even engage in that? Why did I even engage in that? Why? So are you a leader that lead with love? If you are, just remember this. There's 3 steps, right? We talked about the 3 steps. I'm going to wrap up. Always self-reflect and acknowledge. Never dismiss what someone else possibly may be saying, because there could be some truth in it, even if it's just an itty bitty teensy weeny. Just acknowledge it and accept it. And then reflect. And then if there is, understand the root cause of it. Do you need to go see a freaking therapist? If you do, go. Hire a coach. Do whatever you need to do, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to foster empathy and compassion for yourself. You got to give it to yourself. That's why you can't give it to others. Just little mean ass. Right? Then you got to integrate love and responsibility. There's one thing to have love, but being irresponsible with love is a whole nother life. Be responsible in how you grow up in more love, in more transparency, in more significance, right? In more vulnerability. You see what I'm saying? And more authenticity. That's it. And you got to practice this every day. And some days you're going to slip up, but you get to come back to self reflection and you get to come back to responsibility. You get to go say, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say it that way. If I hurt you in any type of way, and even the people who are going to receive you or not, it doesn't matter. You got to do it for yourself. Well, they ain't going to listen no way. They just as ignorant as I am. Just go do it anyway. You got to do it for your soul. You got to do it for your soul. So that's class for today, y'all. 30, 45. Well, it's 30 minutes because it took me 10 minutes to get in flow. So I'll be having these like once a month. I'll be back on next month. I'm not gonna do these every week because they're draining for me. this this drains me because you got to do a lot of work and it's not easy. And you got to surround yourself around good people, y'all. If you surround yourself around people who act just like your shadow self, you're gonna lose. You're gonna lose this battle. And you're not gonna ever be able to divinely like be present with who God created you to be. You are so divine. You're so filled with love and acceptance of yourself, regardless. If you got to lose weight, if you don't like your smile, if your hair, you don't like your hair, your skin, it don't matter. It's still a divine acceptance of yourself. If you don't fight to be that person, you're doing a disservice to yourself. If you don't fight to go to defy the odds, like everything that's saying this is acceptable, and you're looking at it like that shit don't make sense. That don't mic me up. I don't feel sexy, but yet you still do it because it's acceptable. That's a problem. It's a problem. It's an unmet. It's a gap. It's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? You got to do some shit differently. You gotta position yourself around with different type of people that's gonna make you feel so. I make my people feel so uncomfortable because I am so nice. I know I do. Like how does she even think that way? Why haven't she fired me yet? Why am I still here? And what you should be saying is, how can I change my perspective? How can I change my perspective to think higher, just like she's thinking? Why can't I challenge my perspective to say I belong here? Why can't I challenge my perspective to say, damn, if Master Coach can forgive me and move past, why can't I do that for myself? Why can't I forgive myself and move past my own drama? When people are feeding you positivity, stop rejecting them with your shadow self. Challenge yourself to rise to the occasion, right? Just go on top of the mountain, y'all. Sit down. Take y'all asses on top of the mountain. Sit down. That's all I want y'all to do. I love y'all. I'm sending you love and light. I'm getting ready to go and finish out this month strong. We'll come back and we'll have another conversation next month. Okay? Peace. Bye for now. Let's see. End it here. I got to end it everywhere now. End. Okay. End video. End here.